It's a strange coincidence because the Northern Provincial Council election is decisive on the north-south axis of Sri Lankan politics. The NWP and CP Central Province elections are decisive, potentially, on the south-south axis. That is, government and mainstream opposition. North-south is to do with the ethnic issue. But there can be a linkage, because if you have a vibrant campaign in the north and you have this interesting new figure coming up, and the opposition, the Tamil opposition wins, then it does have a knock-on effect on politics in the rest of the country. But that will be down the road. That won't be immediate. But immediately when we wake up the morning after the three elections, it would not only be the Northern Provincial Council elections that are of crucial importance, also the other two. Why? The other two provinces used to be strongholds of the UNP. These are not traditional SLFP strongholds. They had been UNP strongholds. I don't think that's the situation today. Now, logically, with President Rajapaksa's administration having been in office for 8 years, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party having been in office for 19 years, and with the cost of living really beginning to hurt people, logically, this should register in a very strong oppositional surge in the NWP and the Central Province, which, as I said, were UNP strongholds.
But now there is also reports emerging that an opposition parliamentarian may cross over to the ruling party for the Northwestern Provincial Council.
You mean young Jayatilleka? He's a very popular, very likable, personable, able guy who makes good speeches in Parliament. He's an asset to any party. I don't know whether he's really going to cross.
But what if I have to ask you personally, as a former politician as well, if you were in his situation, what would your plan be? Would you think you would cross over, or would you stay with the opposition?
Very good question. I've been in politics only kind of sporadically, but in and around politics for a long time. If I were Dayasari, my main problem would be that I just do not want to remain stagnant for the rest of my political life. This can't go on. So I would look at one of two possibilities. One, the obvious possibility is this. There's a president who's popular, and there's an opposition leader who's not. And the popular president somehow seems to have some kind of chemistry or vibe, including with Dayasari. I mean, like he has with everybody. So, if I were Dayasari, I would be thinking, this guy seems to like me. He certainly treats me better than my own boss. So, and he's on top. So, do I stay this way forever, or do I take the invitation and do I move? And if so, do I move now? But if I move, am I going to be the chief minister? Well, Mr. Navin has stepped down, so that's a signal that if I do well, I can be chief minister. This is one possibility. There's another possibility. If the UNP does very badly in the two provinces, will that be the catalyst for a change in the UNP at the level of the leadership? And if that is the case, Dayasari himself is far too young, not just young, but he's not suitable enough to be the leader of the party. But could he be part of something which remakes the UNP, rebrands, reshapes the UNP? Is that moment going to come after the provincial council elections? If so, it would be worth his while to stay on, because this government, it's crowded anyway. and someday it'll go down the
and
tubes.
most of the ministers and some of the top brass in the government are made up of opposition members.
They are. Many of those opposition members may come back, including with some dissident members of the SLFP, if there is a game changer and the leadership of the UNP and the opposition changes. But there's no way they're going to come back to the party as it is. So Dayan Jayatilleka faces the problem that many in the UNP would face, and even many people in civil society. Is there a chance for a change? Will the UNP at least change? Because if the UNP changes its leadership, then there's something to do, there's a project, there's a cause, and they can fight with the next elections in view in 2015, 2016. Then it's worthwhile staying in, and I'm sure his heart is with the UNP. But if he stays, is he just going to grow old like that? Nobody wants to just go on and on and on. How sure is he that what didn't happen for 19 years is going to happen now, and that there is going to be change? I don't know. So maybe something will change. I mean, I'm one who likes an equilibrium, and therefore I would prefer strong opposition, and therefore if there's a chance for that change to take place after the provincial elections, the asset would be a great asset. But you can't make decisions for other people. I mean, I understand if the guy just doesn't want to grow old there, I wish him luck. I read something very interesting that the leader of the opposition had said yesterday or the day before. He's said that the UNP will and must win these two provincial councils, because when the UNP wins these two provincial council elections, it will be possible to launch a campaign pressurizing the government to hold parliamentary elections as early as 2014 and to win those parliamentary elections. So he's saying basically, win these two provincial council elections, call for elections, force the government to have parliamentary elections next year, not in 2016. Now, my question is, I mean, it's known from the press that President Rajapaksa tends occasionally to listen to what the leader of the opposition says. But what if he listens to this? And he actually, I don't know whether he'll lose the two provincial elections, but what if he actually has parliamentary elections next year rather than in 2016 as scheduled? What if he actually does what the leader of the opposition wants? I'm not sure who the beneficiary is going to be. I'm really not sure that was a smart thing to say, because when you challenge somebody, there was a cartoon once in the New York Times. There's this game known as playing chicken. That is, two guys head towards each other in cars, and the one who swerves first, or the one who is chicken. Sometimes you play it across a table. You stare at each other, and the first one to blink, and the school kids used to play that, is chicken. So in the cartoon, it was said, there's really no point in playing chicken when you're the chicken. So I'm really not sure that it's a good idea for the UNP leader to eyeball the president on this one and say, I challenge you, we're going to force you to have an early election in 2014. I'm really not convinced that that's very smart.